Quarter till the 6 a.m. hour, you are taking a live look out over the mid-Missouri locations there. As you see off to your left, temperatures this morning warm. I'll have your full forecast coming up next on KOMU 8 News today.
And it's the greatest spectacle in racing. See how a new face came out best at the Brickyard.
This nationwide clearance event ends soon. Hurry in today.
8 degrees, that's about where we're going to be today as well. Morning time low checked in at 72. No precipitation in the rain gauge over at Columbia Regional Airport. And speaking of rain, there was a little that quickly faded, and we were left with just a few floating clouds here or there across central Missouri. And still at this hour, we have just a few passing out in that atmosphere. Temperatures this morning. We head further off to the west. 76 in Sedalia, 77 right now in Marshall, and it is 75 down at the Lake of the Ozarks. This afternoon, we hit 98. Then overnight, falling back into the middle 70s under a mostly clear sky, continuing with those warm and muggy conditions. That's a look at your weather. Here's a look at your sports headlines from this weekend.
Now from the Ford Sports Desk, KOMU 8 Sports.
Good morning, good morning. Columbia's Carl Edwards stands atop the NASCAR Sprint Cup standings. He looked to keep the lead at the greatest spectacle in racing yesterday. It was back to the Brickyard 400 at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And we pick up action with 40 laps to go. Cars racing 4 wide, that's got to be dangerous. Landon Castle and David Reagan make a little bit of contact. Casey Kane's going to go into the grass, and that's going to bring out a caution. Jumping to 9 laps to go, defending Brickyard champ Jamie McMurray passes Paul Menard for the lead, but he would not stay there for long. Just 5 laps later, McMurray gets the go-ahead. Menard gets the go-ahead, takes the lead, passes McMurray for the lead. And on the final lap, Menard would hold off Jeff Gordon for his first Sprint Cup win. Paul Menard celebrates in victory lane. Ladies and gentlemen, you may kiss the bricks. Carl Edwards would finish in 14th place. Speaking of Carl Edwards, he remains in first place in the Sprint Cup standings, just 11 points ahead of Jimmy Johnson, followed by Kevin Harvick in 3rd place. Kyle Busch and Matt Kenseth are tied for 4th, and Kurt Busch rounds off the group in 6th. And the Redbirds look to revamp their roster even further yesterday. St. Louis snagged shortstop Rafael Furcal from the Dodgers for minor leaguer Alex Castellanos. Furcal is expected to be the Cards' new leadoff man, but he was held out of that role yesterday thanks to a cross-country flight to St. Louis. And in St. Louis, Cardinals taking on division rival Cubs for the 3rd game in a series. Top of the 6th, Marlon Byrd singles to right field. Starlin Castro and Aramis Ramirez would prance around to score. Cubs lead 4-0. But not for long. Bottom of the 6th, Lance Berkman. In his first game back after sitting out 4 games, the sore right shoulder hits a 3-run home run to center field. That's his 28th of the season. That leads the entire National League. Albert Pujols Molina also came around to score, but the Cubs still lead 4-3. And in the bottom of the 7th, Rafael Furcal making his debut as a Cardinal. Guess he didn't need that much sleep anyway. He grounds into a fielder's choice. Daniel Descalzo is going to be out at 2nd. Molina advances to 3rd, although no runs score on the attempt. In the top of the 9th, the finisher, Alfonso Soriano with a 2-run home run to left field. Bird comes around to score, and the Cardinals fall to the Cubs 6-3, and they're 2.5 games behind the Milwaukee Brewers in the National League Central. And Kansas City taking on Cleveland for the final game of their series. Danny Duffy got the start after Kyle Davies had a shoulder injury. Top of the 2nd, Jeff Francoeur, solo home run of his own. That's his 14th. That's the left field, and Kansas City leads 1-0. In the top of the 4th, Mike Moustakas hits a ball to right. Francoeur would advance to 3rd, but he's not quite done yet. Francoeur would come around to score after the ball gets away from the cutoff man, Jason Kipnis. A little bit of sloppy play in Cleveland, leading to some offense for the Royals. Top of the 5th, Alex Gordon. He's got a solo shot of his own to center field. He's also got 14 home runs. 3-0 Kansas City, all smiles in Cleveland. And in the top of the 9th, to cap things off, Alcides Escobar finishes off a 14th pitch at bat with an RBI to center field off of Tony Sipp. Chris Getz gets the score. Kansas City beats Cleveland 5-3 in the third game of that 3-game series. And that is sports. Megan and Allie on the National League Central is very, very competitive right now, especially with the Cardinals taking on Milwaukee starting today for a 3-game series, only 2.5 games behind. If they win all 3, they can claim first place in the National League Central, but it'll be tough.
Oh my gosh. I know, it's so stressful. And I tell you, that Cards-Cubs series, it just, I feel like it gives me high blood pressure. I don't even have high blood pressure, and it gives me high blood pressure.
Emotionally invested.
It's unbelievable. And then I can't stand Alfonso Soriano.
The games were close. The Cubs were leading every single game. The Cardinals pulled off the first 2, and they couldn't get the third, but they still took 2 games out of the 3-game series.
Thank goodness. You know, my son, when he was about 3, I taught him to say, the Cubs stink. Because I feel like that's good parenting.
Right.
Don't you think? Great parenting.
Learning early.
That's right. Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.
You're taking a